to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, powered by FC Cincinnati supporters. Get in touch, soccer fans. Email us at cincysoccertalk@sbnt.tv. Now, here is your host, Nick Suberling.
Happy 100, CSTers. Welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, the 100th episode of this FC Cincinnati podcast. Glad you're with us this week. We've got a big show in store for you. Head coach Alan Koch. Yes, the main man who will be, oh man, I cannot wait to see what he's got in store with this roster he has built this offseason coming up this spring. We're going to be joined by him here in just a few minutes to talk on the latest signings and much more here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. If you're watching us live tonight, we're also going to be taking callers. We want to hear from you, CSTers. Make sure you get in touch on the King's Hammer hotline, 513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. We'll open up the phones after we visit with Coach Koch here in just a few moments. If you don't want to call in tonight, you can always tweet us at Cincy Soccer Talk, and you can also email us feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com.
Captains!
Hey, we got an episode captain this week. Let's give it up to Mattis Brumback. Mattis, welcome, and thank you so much for wearing the armband for this episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. We appreciate your support. If you want to learn more about wearing the armband for an episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk, log on to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. All right, let's welcome in I guess we can call it the original crew tonight. It's the 100th episode. It's kind of fitting that we've got the OGs here tonight. I'll start first and foremost with Yosef Sagai. Yosef, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I had a good weekend, obviously, with Liverpool pulling off the upset. My dad's a huge City fan, so it was especially sweet. And we had I know we'll get into it, but we had our final confirmation of Naz coming to town. And that was just the cherry on top of a Sunday weekend. So get Sunday a long weekend.
Good to have you back, Yosef. I feel like it's been a while.
It has, man. I hit my OT quota for the year already, though, for the tax season already. So in half the time that's allotted. So I'll be around a bit more often.
Good. We like to see that beautiful smile there, even if you are a Liverpool supporter. Glad to have. And I'm sure a few weeks ago you were very happy to hear that Mark Village is a Liverpool supporter as well.
Yeah, I listened to that. I didn't get to watch that show live, but I listened to it on my drive to work, and I was stoked. Mark and I'm already making friends. I mean, Forrest Lasso and Mark Village. I mean, pretty much, I already have like a whole bar hopping team with me. I mean, obviously, I shouldn't say that with Koch going on. I'm sure we'll stick to light beer to keep it within their calorie allotment.
I bet you Forrest Lasso could drink you under the table. You were like, what, 150 pounds wet? Forrest Lasso is like 7'5", so you know.
He can't do any wrong though. Forrest Lasso could kick a baby, and my first thought would be like, what did the baby do to provoke him?
Only on the 100th episode, folks. Glad to have you back, Yosef, as well. You've heard the voices of the Weigel twins. We'll start with Happy Brad. Brad, how are you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, man. I'm excited to see my main man, Mattis Brumback, stepping up as an episode captain. He's a gentleman and a scholar, and got to see him perform here in his smooth tones over at the Wise Owl a couple weeks ago. So it's good to have him on with the CST crew here.
And of course, last but not least, certainly not least, Angry Brian. Brian, how are you doing?
I'm always second, Subs. Come on, man. Always second to Bradley. No, I'm joking. Pretty excited here. Got number 100 here. We got Yosef, the unofficial third, or I guess the unofficial triplet, as we call him. So, he looks all like Bradley and I, so that's cool. So yeah, great to be here with the original crew.
I'm glad to have the original crew here. As we look back on 100 of these things, and I know we've done more than 100 with the added shows like March to Match Day, and I think we even threw the Coney phone in there. That I can't remember if that went towards the official 100 count or not, but
nope.
I just can't believe here we are. It flew by. It really did fly by. I cannot believe we've done 100 of these already. We've done 147 total podcast episodes, and even more remarkable, guys, is how many people have downloaded the show over the last 2 years. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Said between March to Match Day, our specials, the EPL show, nearing 150 total produced shows over 2 years. connecting with thousands of people out there. It's been a heck of a ride. The cool thing I like checking out is we've had 25 countries download a show, or people in 25 different countries download a show, and we're at 41 of 50 states downloaded. So if you know anybody in South Dakota, North Dakota, Hawaii, Vermont, Maine, and a bunch of other flyover states, get on the phone and call them, tell them to download Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I want to get 50.
Yeah, and it's funny because FC Cincinnati just hit that every state mark as far as merchandise shipped. So we're not that far behind the club. That's pretty cool, too.
Considering they have like 67,000 followers and we got about 3,000 on Twitter. So I guess that's an all right thing.
And more importantly, what I'm even more proud of, and this is, I think this is probably more near and dear to your heart, Bri, because you like to what's the word I'm looking for here? You're the writer of this foursome here on the show tonight. Not that Brad can't write; he does a great job writing. But you've churned out quite a few stories this year. 689 published stories on our website.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, that's nearly one a day over the course of our existence. So that's pretty exciting. That goes on to our whole staff of people, and it's really funny today because the Naz Al Adawi signing kind of came to fruition. We'll talk about him a little bit, but all the reaction on social media and everything's like, "Hey, Cincinnati Soccer Talk," and I'm like, "Hey, we're not full of crap. Yay! So happy." I'm more like a big exhale. Whew. Yeah, no. So, now thanks everybody for checking our stuff out. It's labor of love, and I'm just glad to be a part of this whole storyline of FC Cincinnati. Kind of what Jeff said last week. It's not about us. It's about our kids and about our future of our town and our city that we all love, and that's just a small part of making the place where we live better. So thanks to everybody for tuning in and checking it out.
Speaking of people tuning in tonight, I'm going to give a shout out because you don't hear this every day, but Andy Rosen is tuning in tonight from Mississippi representing tonight here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Apparently Mississippi is blue and orange country tonight here on CST. Yeah, I mean, I just can't believe how quickly it's gone. Coming from a podcast before when I covered the Bengals, I did, I think, close to 250 episodes of that show, and I can't believe we're already almost halfway to that. And that run felt like it took a really long time, and here we are, already 100 episodes in, and it's been a lot of fun. From the guests we've had to the stories to the things we've done. I mean, we had the opportunity to go down to kick soccer balls with FC Cincinnati over the summer. That wouldn't have happened without Cincinnati Soccer Talk. You know what I mean? Be able to play the crossbar challenge and watch guys like Harrison Delbridge and Omar Cummings struggle to hit the crossbar. But no, it was a great time. And that wouldn't have been able to happen without Cincinnati Soccer Talk. So that's all really, really cool. Brad, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, just not too much. I just want to thank the club for being so willing and open in their dialogue with us. I mean, without them and their support, this wouldn't have blown up as big as it has. And then just thank you to all of our supporters too. This is a supporters-driven show, and you guys come up with ideas and we try to implement them. And we just thank you guys for all your support and tuning in each and every week and reading all of our stories.
Apparently Newport loves us too. So Kentucky's giving us love tonight, and Matt Atkins. Thank you, Matt, for tuning in live. Oh, that is great. So again, I echo the guys' sentiments. Thank you so much for everybody who tunes in live, who downloads the show, who shares the show, who posts it on social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's been crazy, and we've really enjoyed the journey, and we're looking forward to where it goes here moving forward as well. Well, as we mentioned earlier, we're really excited now to be joined on the King's Hammer hotline by the man of the hour. He is the main man leading this FC Cincinnati squad here in 2018. It is head coach Alan Koch, and he joins us now on the phone. Coach, welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing fantastic now that you're here, celebrating 100 episodes. You got to feel a little special that you're on our 100th episode, Coach.
No, 100%. It's an honor. I appreciate you guys having me on the show, and congratulations for what you've achieved.
Well, thank you. Well, you've achieved a tremendous offseason. I know you've been busy. You've been traveling. How excited are you to get going here?
We're chomping at the bit. We cannot wait to get going. We're down right now. I'm here with Johan and Jack at the MLS Combine, and as exciting as it is to be here and see the players and go to the USO technical meetings, I think we all cannot wait just to get back to Cincinnati and get going.
Now, Coach, we've seen where in the world is Alan Koch right now. We've seen you traveling all over through around the globe, looking at players and everything. Is it true that you've met every signing before they've joined the club?
Yeah, we have made it a priority this year to obviously identify the talent that we know we needed to improve the squad, but equally important is character. And we've really focused on bringing the right character. It's every single guy coming into his team, and I include every single one of the returning players are absolute top-notch in character. They're just great guys. They're great guys to go to battle with. They're great guys to go to work with every day. And I think our community is going to love having them in Cincinnati.
Now, is that something that coaches at a lot of larger clubs across the world do, or is that something that's more important for your management style?
I think people will say it. I think it'd be hard pressed to see somebody who says that character is not important. But I've put a major emphasis on bringing the right character this year. Our club has grown so much in a short amount of time, and we still have a long way to grow. And I think the best way to grow is have the right people, the right personas, people with the right mindset with us in the club.
Now, Coach, in 2017, FC Cincinnati, they were very active in the offseason, and this year you've been even more. Is there a difference between the crew that you brought in 2018 and is this group, how is this more towards your preferences? Like how do you look at the quantity of the roster versus some of your targeted signings, and how you want to align this group up to look in the upcoming year?
Well, the group we've assembled is an absolute vision. We took stock of what we had last year, what we liked, what we didn't like. We retained players that we're very happy to continue to work with. And then we identified the actual spots, not just only in formation or in individual profiles, but all the different variables when you look at different players as to what we needed to go out and get. We've gone through thousands of players, that's not an exaggeration, to identify the group that we've managed to scout. I think more often not, thank goodness, we've been able to get the guys that we wanted to get. It says a lot about what our city has. It says a lot about what the club has done so far, that we've been able to lure some of the players we brought in. But it is part of a vision. It's my responsibility to have a technical vision for the club. I know obviously Jeff has a major vision for the club. The club wouldn't be here if he and Carl didn't have the vision that they have. But we've gone out and truly exercised what we need to do to get the specific players we need for the team right now.
Coach, you've done a tremendous job. It felt like with each and every signing, we sat here covering the team, and our eyes would just get wider and wider every time these names would come in. Now, you don't have to specifically name names here, but is there anybody here this offseason that you thought you were close on but just missed on?
Yeah, there were a few players that we identified and we thought they would be good fits, and we thought there was both ways. We thought we'd be a good fit for them too. But you're never going to get everybody you want in this business. But thankfully, we've been very happy with the guys that we have managed to get. This business is so competitive. Everybody has to deal with financial restraints and different challenges that we pose, and we've managed to go out and get all the variables that we want within a sound system.
How do you think some of these new acquisitions you brought in are going to mess with the current guys that you have on the team?
That's where I think the character is huge. It's important putting a group of players together where I think we all know there's a lot of depth in this group now. So not everybody's going to play, and that's where the character is huge. We want the guys that have the character to come out and fight every day to get the job, but then also have the understanding that when somebody else gets a chance to play in the game, you're going to have to go out there and support them, because we're only going to be as good as the collective, and that's going to be our absolute focus the whole year.
Hey, Alan, this is Joseph here. So we carried over a lot of good talent from last year, and we brought in a ton of very talented free agents in the off season. Do you feel any added pressure now that you've had this roster expansion and got to choose your own players? I know a lot of fans out there will be just expecting nothing but a championship. So I kind of wanted to get your take on that.
I don't feel any extra pressure because I've had time now in a full off season to put essentially my team with Jeff and with everyone in the club in place. I think that's just the reality of where we were as a club. It is a lot easier for a coach to be able to go identify the individual players they want within the system that they want to play. But I don't feel any extra pressure. We have a hugely expectant fan base, and I love that they're expectant. I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. The players wouldn't want to come play for us if we didn't have huge expectations. Our job is to go out there and leave everything we have on the pitch and hopefully go out and have another successful season. But it's going to sound like a coach when I say this. You never hear me talking about trophies or anything like that. I have to be a realist and focus on the process. It's get through preseason. We've got a 3-phase preseason. We get through phase 1, it'll lead in phase 2, and get into phase 3. And when the season starts, we go one game at a time. So if I'm talking about trophies in January, to be honest, I think that's quite foolish. I'll allow our fans to dream because that's the beauty of the game. But I have to be a realist about what we put together. You don't go and win trophies or championships just based on names. We've signed some good names at this level, but that's all they are, is their names. And we start working together, then we create the identity of this team. But we're only going to go as far as we all can go together.
Coach, you talked about big expectations, and there's a certain player that was announced today, Nazmi Hamadawi, that mainly partially due to a Cincinnati Soccer Talk article might have a big expectation attributed to him for this upcoming season. Can you give us a little bit of background about Nas and the process of signing him? We heard there might have been a rumor that he might have been in with an MLS club as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain. Actually, I know for a matter of fact that there was MLS interest in Nas. He's that level of player, just like several guys that we have in our group. But it's a competitive market out there, and every team offers something different. And I think the package that we offer as a club right now, the team that we have in place, the front office we have in place, the fans that we have, the city, I think the whole package is something that literally every day is growing and becoming more and more appetizing for players. And I think that's something that we've used to sell the product that we have. And that's why Naz has come to join us. He's excited to be with us, and it's how we've lured every single player that's come to join us is come be part of the journey. The story so far is amazing, but I think we all know there's still a lot more of this book to be written, and we're excited to be part of it.
So I know we're rounding out the roster and we have a few slots left to fill. Are we still looking for more talent? And more specifically, do we have our eyes on a really big name as it stands now?
Well, I know you can carry 30. We have 24 right now. We may look at adding one more. We have a few trialists that will be joining us on Wednesday when we hit the field, so we'll definitely look at them. We may look, if needed, to loan a player out if that were to present itself. There's always going to be movement, but I think after all the movement we went through last year, I think one of the true goals that I have is to minimize the movement. So we'd like to have as cohesive a group for the whole season, and it's unrealistic to think in professional soccer you can keep the same group the whole season long. You've got to manage the players' individual expectations too. But we will continually look to mold the group with hopefully as minimal number of adjustments as possible. I think the second you stop looking at how do you improve your group, either internally, externally, through our daily habits, you're going to become stagnant. So we have to continue to look to see how we can improve it. And is that adding another player? Is it pushing the trialists that are going to join our group and assessing and seeing if any of them are at the level that we need them to be to come join the project? That's to be determined, but we'll go one day at a time now. I think the majority of the work that we needed to do in the off season has been done, which that to me is the satisfying part. I really wanted to get it done before we came in for preseason, because it's not that much fun continually bringing players in and out during preseason. You want to really work every single day and use every session to get the group ready, particularly for us with so many new faces. It's going to take time to mold them into a group on and off the pitch.
Now you said something there about getting better. Sorry about that, Brad. There's been a certain club in our conference, maybe a little bit of a rival. I think you know the name Loose City. They really haven't added much of any new players this year. Maybe Pat McMahon. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Are they ripe for the taking because they really haven't, gone out there and tried to improve their squad as much this offseason?
You're trying to lure me in, I guess. Eh? No disrespect to them. I will give every single team in our league equal consideration. We prepare for every single game the same way. Myself and our players are under no illusions to the importance of these derbies. I think playing Louisville, having played Columbus in the Cups, now getting to play Indy, those are exciting games. Those are exciting games for fans, but as a coach and all of our staff and every single one of our players, we love those games. There's nothing better than going out and representing your club and your city against your rivals. So, yeah, they're obviously content with the group they have. They just won the championship a few months ago. So that's great that they're happy with the group that they got. But I'm not going to pay too much attention just to one team. We have to be aware of everybody we compete against.
So now you've gone out and you identified the players you wanted to sign, and you brought them in. You brought in the likes of we discussed Nazmi. You brought in Tommy Heineman up top. You've brought in Manu Ledesma, who's just tore up the NASL last year, and has got a tremendous English pedigree. How do you envision this team rolling out come March? Do you have a specific formation in your head, or more maybe, if not necessarily a specific formation, a general plan of how you want to see the guys on the field?
I think the biggest thing we're going to have to figure out during preseason, and we're going to try multiple different formations during preseason, is do we play a 4 at the back or do we play a 3 at the back? I think once we see the individual profiles of every single player and how they come in for preseason, that's going to guide us as to whether we play a 3 or 4. And then once we've got that identified, then we can kind of morph the system in place. You play 4, we could play a 4-2-3-1. It could be a 4-3-3. And if we play a 3 at the back, it could be a 3-4-3. It could even become a 3-5-2. So it's just going to depend. We've got 5 traditional center backs. How do they perform during preseason? And a couple attacking players that can play wide and can also play centrally. So do we play with 1 up front? Do we play a 2 up front? Do we push and play with a central player and 2 wingers? I've definitely got some ideas because that's why we identified and signed the players we have. But we're going to go and use the full 8 weeks of preseason and try different things. You'll see in our preseason games, we will try different things. So do not worry or do not focus on the results during preseason, because this is a new group and we're definitely going to try different things. We won't be focusing on the results during preseason. It's going to be the performance and how did the individual players embrace those opportunities to get ourselves ready for that first game of the season.
Good luck telling FC Cincinnati fans that, Coach.
Good point.
Now, on the tactical side, for some of us newbies out there or us not familiar, what would lead you to decide to go with 3 at the back versus or a 4 at the back?
Well, it just depends. It depends on how do we want to play. Do we want to build out of the back? Do we want to utilize our fullbacks per se, or do we want to utilize wingbacks? And that's a system is great. They're all numbers at the end of the day. They're all very, very pliable. But you cannot be so fixated with a system as a coach unless you have the players to play that system. And I think, thankfully, with a full off season, it's allowed me to go get the players that I'd like that fit probably my 2 favorite systems. But now it's about going out and actually see how they do within those systems day in and day out. I think any coach that says he's set on one system and that's how you play is being a bit narrow-minded. You need to be flexible. You need to be willing to change. Look what we did this last year against Columbus Crew. We changed things to get ourselves ready for that game, and thankfully it had a positive effect. So being open-minded and flexible and willing to change between seasons and during a season, I think, is a big part of a coach trying to get the best out of his group.
Well, Coach, you mentioned you're down at the Combine right now, the MLS Combine. Obviously, with the club not being in MLS just yet, I know they have aspirations for that, but being a coach at the lower division soccer here in the United States, what can somebody like you learn down at the MLS Combine?
Well, I've obviously been here several times in my MLS role before with the Whitecaps. This is actually the first time I've only been here purely as a USL coach. So we all get to go watch the Combine games. That's USL coaches, MLS coaches. The MLS has their technical meetings. The USL has their technical meetings. So I've gone to all the technical meetings for the USL. It's interesting to see the updates from the league and interact with the different coaches in terms of different subcommittees. But I think from a coaching perspective and observing and evaluating players, anybody that really sticks out here, you would think and you would hope for them that they're going to get drafted. So those are the players, as exciting as it may be for us to see them right now. We're not going to get them because they're going to get drafted. It's probably the second-tier type of player here who either goes and gets drafted and then goes and doesn't get signed to a contract, or the players that don't get drafted, that are the options for the USL team. The hard part for us, and probably the hard part for the kids that are here in the Combine, is we've gone out and signed a very, very good group. So we're continually comparing the players we see here on a daily basis to the players that we actually have. So it just shows how much the USL has improved. The fact that we've improved our team, and we've seen so many teams in the USL have improved, it shows the game is growing. So we're just observing every day, and you may not get a player this year, but you could get him next year, and then we'll continue to monitor all the players develop over the next few years.
Now, Coach, this is kind of a two-part question here. As we all know, that MLS bid cloud is hanging over our heads right now. So my first question to you is, did you use that bid to lure any players to the club? And then secondly, have you still been scouting? Say if MLS does call our name and says, FC Cincinnati, you're going to go in 2019. Have you been actively working towards being able to put out a roster in a year's time?
I think in terms of the MLS application, we've definitely used that as a recruitment tool because it just shows the ambition our club has. I think players out there are obviously aware of what we've done as a club in the last 2 years. I think our Open Cup run has given us nationwide notoriety. Every player you'd speak to would be aware of that run, and obviously they all enjoyed watching us as an underdog go that far. So we've really used the Open Cup run and our club's MLS aspirations to see if we can go out and get players to come in, but not because we're in the MLS. It just shows how forward-thinking our club is. The club wants to get better every single day, and that starts all the way from the top with our owners and Jeff and our entire front office. Everybody in the club is literally working to get better every single day, and I think that's infectious, and I think it leads to our players. Of course, the whole decision is hovering out there, but I'm not really going to allow myself to get caught up into if and when that day does come. Then we'll start obviously crossing that bridge. I definitely am somebody who has a vision, and I do think long term. But right now, that just encompasses this season. I'm always looking for players that could join us in the future, but which league you're in definitely does dictate what sort of players you can bring in.
Talking about further improvements, you've added some new members to your coaching staff between the new goalkeeping coach Jack Stern and as well as adding Austin Berry to the staff. Tell us real quick about what you're looking for from Jack and Austin, and kind of what the biggest difference will be with increased numbers for 2018.
Well, I think it's incredibly exciting to have Austin join us. it's great to have a local guy who came back to join the club, and now when he's finishing his career, step right in to a position with our staff. And I know Austin appreciates it. He's excited about it. But I'm very, very excited to have him join the staff. I think he's a new coach, which is always nice to have new coaches around because sometimes you get different perspectives. And we can all challenge ourselves in different ways. I think he's going to be a great intermediary between our staff and the players. He's passionate about fitness. He's passionate about strength and conditioning. He's been taking all sorts of courses and going out and educating himself extensively since he decided to retire. So I'm excited to have him. He's going to be a breath of fresh air. I'm sure he's going to be a little bit nervous when we start. It's not always easy going out and speaking to some players you used to play with, but also speaking to a big group of professionals. The best way to become a coach, in my opinion, is to coach. And he hasn't done much of that just yet, but we're going to be there to help guide him along that process, and I'm sure he's going to be a fantastic coach. Jack is a guy I've known for a few years. He's coming to us from the MLS. He's a brilliant goalkeeper coach. And I know Evan, Spencer, and Mark are all incredibly excited to work with Jack. He's excited to work with them. And we're getting a very, very special goalkeeper coach. I'd argue he's one of the best in North America. He's an eager coach. He's got some great ideas. Him, myself, and Johan literally we got in the hotel tonight, and we spent 3 hours going over some pedagogical ideas and hearing how he wants to work with the goalkeepers. And on Wednesday, he's going to present some pretty impressive stuff to his keepers. So I'm excited to have both of them. They're both different, obviously. Austin's a newbie. Jack's an experienced coach coming from an MLS team, but they're both going to be invaluable to come help myself and Johan, because it was a challenge last year for Johan and myself doing a lot of the work, and now having Austin there with us will help us a lot, and having Jack with us will be very good too.
Well, on a question that came to us from Twitter, from Connor Paquette, was in regard to Austin Berry's, I wouldn't say departure, but transition to a new role. I know Kenny Walker has been the assistant captain and had worn the armband when Austin wasn't in the starting 11. But have you given any thought to who will be the captain and the vice captain on the squad next year?
We're probably going to make that decision. I would venture to say probably about 2 weeks before the season starts. I think when Kenny was asked to do the job last year, I think he was excellent at it. I think we have a few other returning players that have great leadership abilities too. But part of going out and recruiting guys that have fantastic character, a lot of the time guys in our business that have good character are leaders too. So we brought in all sorts of guys with all sorts of leadership ability. And you have to have more than just one player that is a leader. And I feel fortunate that we're going to have numerous leaders this year. A captain in modern day soccer is not just one player. I think it's a lot easier to do it by committee and then put all the pressure on one guy. But obviously in our sport, in terms of being able to communicate with the ref during the game, somebody has to wear their armband. It's an honor, and we have a lot of candidates are there. But we're going to make that decision once we get to know the guys and get through the games and get through a lot of the work that we're going to put in during preseason.
Well, speaking of preseason, Coach, I know you've got a lot of new faces there with the club. You've got a lot of new faces who are finally getting their first offseason, their first taste of FC Cincinnati. And this is your first, I guess, offseason that you got the chance to really plan yourself. So lay it out there for folks. What is actually going to be happening here the next few weeks in Cincinnati and then before or while you head down to Florida at IMG?
Yeah, I don't want to get too technical, but
sure.
We're calling the next 2 weeks. We're calling the next 2 weeks phase one. We're going to go work on a lot of body positioning and smaller group concepts over the first 2 weeks. We're going to do that primarily because it's the best way to integrate players once they come back after a bit of a layoff. But we're also doing it because we're going to go indoors because of the weather. So we'll do a lot more small-sided stuff to start, and then going into phase two is when we go down to Florida, and then we'll start doing some bigger numbered things and build up to doing 11v11 work and play some games while we're down there. And then after that, we come back, and I believe it's for 4 weeks. We'll spend the last 4 weeks back in Cincinnati and really start cranking it up then to get ourselves ready for the season. So it's a slightly longer preseason than last year, but it's by design. We want to bring these guys in. I'm not a coach who brings guys in and we start doing fitness right away. I want them to play and get themselves fit by playing every single day and use the ball and get comfortable with the ball. We want to be a very, very possession-based team this year. And the best way to do that is by incorporating the ball into everything you do every single day. So there's a plan. We'll build through those 3 phases and get ourselves ready for the season.
Well, Coach, we know you're a busy guy, and we appreciate you spending a few minutes of your time. Stay warm down in Florida, and I'm personally looking forward to seeing you face-to-face down at IMG next month.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys having the show, and once again, congratulations. It's absolutely awesome what you guys have achieved through these 100 episodes, and it really just shows, in my opinion, that we're all in this together. And we all continue to grow and enjoy the ride, and it's the beauty of this club and the community, and long may it continue.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate the kind words, and safe travels, and see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's head coach Alan Koch joining us on the Kings Hammer Hotline. I always enjoy talking to Coach. He brings a lot of insight each and every time he comes on the show, and of course it always helps when he says very kind words about Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Doesn't it, guys? No, it was great.
Man, I was just trying to get him to say crap about James O'Connor, but I guess we'll have to wait for Bill Grandesta or somebody to call him about that. Actually, no, I feel bad. Bill won't be able to call in tonight. He texted me earlier today. He was put on the U.S. government no-fly list, so I think he's meeting with his lawyer and a couple other things, something about trying to make a duck boat fly. I don't know exactly what happened, but I think he'll be around here in the next couple weeks.
Oh,
jeez.
You cracked me up.
I don't want to get distracted, but it always makes me laugh every time someone realizes who that actually is, because there's like a segment of people who know exactly who Bill Grandesta is.
Don't ruin it, dude. Don't ruin it.
I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to say it.
You just did. He's the real person.
Oh, is it?
He is a real person. Come on, darn it. Just ruin the freaking joke, Joseph. You're banished, and Boston's back being the other triplet. So, no, I'm joking. No, Coach Koch is awesome. Really do appreciate him coming on, and it's really nice to hear the plan and see the plan kind of come into fruition. I think the one thing we noticed last year from what Coach Harks brought in, of course, Coach Koch also was a part of building this roster, but we saw a lot of volume of players coming in, and not necessarily the actual positions that need to be filled. We see the number 10s, we see the D mids, we see the wingers, we see the left backs. So it's kind of nice to see how the pieces will hopefully fit together versus just the quantity of players, and hope that they could kind of stick last year.
Well, like what we had one of his offseason moves actually stuck with the club, Matt Boehner, right? Am I missing anybody? That's it.
I thought Boehner was earlier.
That was from Harks. I'm just saying, like, Harks, the only one that stuck with
Oh,
Harks
I see what you're
was
saying.
Boehner.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the quality of this group, I think we're going to see humongous difference on the field. I think last year was hype, but I don't want to say this, but, maybe we weren't really sure what we were looking at. I think this one, we're going to see big things come from this group.
Let's look at it this way, too. And, Brian, you can back me up on this. The decision so late in the offseason last year to sanction USL as a Division II, I think really hurt the club, because now you've got all these NASL players that, they could have gone after. Now with an offseason, and we've seen what's happened with NASL, I mean, they've been, the words you used earlier, right for the picking.
Yeah, I mean, I think back there, I think a lot of people knew, last year, a lot of people thought that, FC Cincinnati kind of plays by some different rules, so I'm not sure that necessarily applied to us a lot, but I think we've just kind of become a destination type team. I was talking to some guys from Charlotte today, Charleston today, and they referred to us as the Yankees of the USL. I freaking love that. I'm a Reds fan. I mean, I'm used to getting the crap kicked out of us by the Yankees, so I think that's a pretty cool comparison. But it's just we're able to go out and basically say, hey, we want you, and those guys want to be here. And I think that's a huge part is, we are a D2 squad. We're pushing to be the best D2 squad right now that we can be. And, of course, what Coach said is got to play with what's ahead, with what's in front of us now. But, MLS is also a good selling point for this club.
We've got phone lines open if you want to get in touch here on the 100th episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. 513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. Our main man, Griffin, standing by, waiting to take your calls. Before we get to some of those phone calls, I just got to give a big shout-out and thanks to our awesome, loyal supporters who contribute each and every month. Big shout-outs to Tim Bronsel, King's Hammer, Matt Adamchick, Mama Subes, Brian Malone, Jamie Smed, Mike Hudson, Jonas Tom, Jack Emery, and Mike Bowman. Thank you so much for your generosity and support here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. If you want to help support the show, the website, and what we do here, log on to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. All right, let's go to the King's Hammer hotline. Let's welcome in a good friend of the show, Yursky. Yursky, how you been, buddy?
What's up, guys? Congratulations on your 100th episode. It's much well-earned. You guys worked your butt off, and it's directly correlated to how much you guys put off. And I'm glad to be able to call in every once in a while for you guys because you guys truly do work your butt off. I just want to say congratulations first off.
Thank you.
Because you guys do. And I also want to give you guys major kudos. I'm not the first person to give you major kudos on the Nas breaking. You guys kind of hinted at it mid-December. Now, I have a question regarding that. Do you think the announcement, the official announcement, had anything to do with that Reddit video that was on, or do you think they were trying to withhold information, or was that planned all along? Had he been, because I know he had a correlation with the team early on in December. Do you think that was a connection with that video, or do you think they were, it's just that he recently joined the team?
You want to handle this one, Brian?
I think it was just DJ Switzer, man, just messing with all our hearts right now, messing with us on social media. No, I'm joking. I think this is kind of what Coach said. There's an MLS club sniffing around him, trying to get him to sign. The rumor was the Chicago Fire, and the guy has to do, what he's comfortable with. He's a newly engaged guy. He just proposed to his fiance over the holiday, and I'm sure he just made the decision probably in the 2 weeks since then. And it sometimes takes a little bit of time to get paperwork and stuff like this signed. The rumor was he was in town last week for a large portion of last week, so it might have just been an opportune time to make the announcement this week. But I'm glad that he's in town and booked and ready to go.
But if Will Seymour video pushed him across the line,
oh my God,
great job, Will Seymour. You're gonna love Nas.
Poor buddy's gonna get social media training.
That's so funny. No, I don't think the video had anything to do with it, Yursky. But if it, as Brad said, if it helped, then so be it.
Right, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't think that was the case, but I wanted to run that by you guys, see what you guys had to say. Again, congratulations on your 100th, because you guys do truly work your butts off.
Well, thank you, Yursky. We appreciate it. No, we appreciate you calling in as often as you do, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you over the last couple of years, so we appreciate it.
Likewise. Have a great week, guys.
You too, Yursky. That's Yursky giving us a ring here on the King's Hammer hotline. Again, we've got phone lines open, 513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. Let's go back to the phones and welcome in Daniel to the show. Daniel, welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk.
Hey, it's Daniel. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great. How about you?
Hey, how about that Man U game today? How about that?
Hey, I got no complaints, man. They look good.
They look good today, yeah. My other thing is I haven't called in a while because I've been in school, and I watch you guys after I get done with class, and you guys are done by the time I get done. But, how are you, everybody, how are you guys? I'm still hoping for my Wayne Rooney, like we were discussing. I was hoping for that to be the MLS signing if we ever get to MLS. But I feel that we've got this caliber team. What do you think the next step is? Is it a title, or is it us another run in the Open Cup? Which ones do you believe is going to be the next step for us?
Oh, To
Double.
me, the double, yeah, like what Brad said. First of all, this city and this town, I don't care if it's the Open Cup or if it's the USL Championship. This town is just yearning for a championship. I don't care which one it is. I think that the roster that they have built here this offseason has sent a huge message across the United Soccer League right now that FC Cincinnati means business. I think every one of us here at CST agrees that I'm not going to go out and say championship or bust, but I think they've got obviously with what they've invested here this offseason, they've got extremely high aspirations for the club.
I don't know about you guys. I mean, I thought that U.S. Open Cup run was awesome. Don't get me wrong. But I want to take that cup away from Louisville City. I don't want it to be anybody else. I want it to be FC Cincinnati, and that's really what I want for 2018.
You kind of took the words right out of my mouth. Like, there is just no part of me that can accept Louisville being that successful ever again.
Oh, I hate it.
So I think the depth on this team is going to be awesome in that we won't be playing, our practice squad players playing in the early rounds of the Open Cup will be quality players. Whoever's not starting, or I think there'll be a mix of playing time, but I think we'll always have a chance to field a very talented and competitive roster regardless of how much rotation we need to do based on schedule congestion.
So, Daniel, I know you've been missing the show. Did you at least get good grades?
I'm getting good grades,
Good.
but
Hey, he's lying. He it's not class. It's his girlfriend. Let's be honest. Come on.
Love
you, buddy.
no, I bad class.
Thanks, man.
Love you too. But the thing is I'm going to tell you this last thing before I hang up. You guys have a good night. Congratulations. I'll be listening as much as I can. I'll be giving you guys more grief later on in the next couple of weeks when it starts calming down a little bit more. So I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate the call, buddy.
Later.
That's Daniel on the King's Hammer Hotline. If you want to have your say, this is your chance here on the 100th episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. 513-399-KICK, 513-399-KICK. We kind of mentioned it with Coach earlier on, but it was officially announced today, and we talked about it with Yursky as well, that Nazmi Abadawi, it's official. It happened. The release came out today. We reported it, it feels like forever ago. I think that was a huge weight off of our chest. It actually got done. But I know, and we've kind of talked about it here on recent episodes, we're all very excited about that signing. And I was intrigued to hear Coach say that they may go after one more person. Now that you know that, and if they have the chance to go after one person, is there a position in mind, Brian?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. Right back. Right back or D mid. That's the positions I look at right now. I'm a little nervous with right back because I just and it just depends really how healthy Boehner is, and then D mid like an enforcer.
I don't agree with the right back. I think Hoyt and Boehner have that pretty much locked up. And if you need a third one, I heard Patty Barrett can scoot over and play emergency right back if you need. I don't know. I'm not sure we're going to add anybody unless they're going to be a serious difference maker. Because Tyler Gibson and Kenny Walker in defensive midfield, I think they're going to be awesome. You've got Ledesma going to be out on one of the wings. I think you're going to have McLaughlin and Haber. I mean, Haber's a forgotten man. He scored 7 goals last 4 years in a row. If FC Cincinnati wants to be really, really dangerous, I think you try to keep Lance Lang on a wing, and you bring somebody in there to in the left back position to be ahead of Josu, or at least push Josu and make him even better.
I mean, it was kind of funny because you guys put out that mailbag where both you and Brian and Rob did a really good job discussing the lineup and formation. But like any way you slice it, this team is already pushing very talented players to the bench. So
Yeah.
a new signing is going to be. I mean, I just, I think what you alluded to, Brad, is right, that it'll make a position more competitive. I don't know if it'll be an outright starter.
Yeah, I mean, I put in the NASME story today that I think we're done before Florida, at least. Maybe you might have a shock or I maybe one, I think more, but I just don't think you need to carry 26, 27 guys. And he even alluded to, like, we could potentially loan somebody out. So that kind of shocked me a little bit. I'm not sure who we would. Maybe it's Cicerone or something like that, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind if we do go with the back three. I think if we see that might be the shape we go with, maybe loan out a Semdevit and bring in another high quality player that could pair up with a Kynan and going to bring in either a Kynan type player, bring in a Lasso type player, somebody that highly talented that's just going to make us even better. I'm not sure if we're gonna play back four, we would be able to get that type of player, but if we're going with the back three and you're going to have a nice rotation there, guys, I think that could definitely work.
I think the one thing you got to watch out for here coming up in a few weeks is once MLS teams set their rosters, there's going to be some talented guys looking for work. So that's just never say never in this business, because there may be some talented guys looking for work that could potentially fill a need here with this squad. So I'm glad.
Victor Mansouri was that, so.
Yeah. Mansouri.
So is Sean Coley, though.
Yep, so it was a Coley.
Sean Coley was cut earlier.
He came in
during Florida. He came in Florida, so he was cut early.
Well, again, you don't want to close up that door. Not that we're going to call them out. You weren't going to add any more players, but no, I mean, if it's going to make your team better, you got to do it. Pull the trigger on some potential MLS talent that, again, if things go our way, could help you in 2019, 2020. So you got to play it by ear. So I would not be surprised if they're not done adding as the season goes. So again, we'll see. But it was good stuff there from Coach. One thing that we do need to kind of touch on that has happened since we last joined you, the USL openers were released. So we know that FC Cincinnati, for the third consecutive year, will be opening their season at the Charleston Battery. The question is, can they finally win? They lost at the death in year one. They lost last year 2-1. They finally scored. But can they beat the Charleston Battery in week one on March 17th? And a bigger question is, will any of you be going?
Boston is.
Well, we kind of knew Boston would be going. I think that's like
sometimes
his
you don't have
second
kids,
home.
you get to travel,
Yeah.
Get to travel, no kids. I think it's a great test for FC Cincinnati to start the year. Everybody keeps thinking it's this depleted Charleston Battery squad. Yes, they lost Lasso. Yes, they lost two midfielders. They lost Williams up top, but they brought in, I'm going to butcher the names, like Sean or Yvonne Sven Tessen, who scored 10 goals for Tulsa last year. I believe that's who he played for. So they brought in a new striker. They have a couple young guys in that back line in the midfield that they feel pretty confident about. So it's definitely going to be a test to start the year. And if we can pull out 3 points off the bat, I think that sends a message to the Eastern Conference that FC Cincinnati is indeed ready to go here. But, kind of what Coach said, it's a long preseason. And I think this gives us every opportunity to really nail down our starting 11 and go in with a plan and take on a team that we haven't beaten yet.
And then in week 2, Brad, they're going to get their first taste of Indy 11 in USL.
Week 3.
You're right. I'm sorry. Week 3. Yeah, you're right. They're going to be on the road at Indy 11. That's going to be a fun fixture.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think we've really seen any of the players that Indy has, and I know they were the oldest. They were the oldest by average professional Division II squad, I think, in the world. And so I know that roster is going to have a lot of turnover. I would expect it to have a lot of turnover. They don't even have a coach yet, so they're definitely behind the 8 ball with all this NASL turmoil. So
do they still have John Bush as their goalkeeper?
He's like, how old is he? He's like 42 now. He's old.
So until they have Don Smart. Huh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they do. They still have some talented players. Was it Eman Zayed? think I think he's still there. So he's a high quality player, but I'm really wondering. I'm looking forward to it just because I love the city of Indianapolis. Used to live there. I think you're gonna have a huge crowd, even though it is Easter weekend. I think you're gonna have huge crowd travel up there. I'm thinking we might get to go up there twice just because of, probably have to get to play a regional rival 3 times. I would assume that we'll probably have Louisville at home twice and maybe go to Indy twice just because we're starting off the bat so early up there. But I'm looking forward to it and gonna see how we can take our traveling Billy up to the Circle City.
Bailey Bastards bus trip.
That's right. And then, of course, FC Cincinnati, their home opener will be on April 7th against that team down south, Louisville. I mean, that's got to be. I meant to throw it over to Yosef, and somehow I ended up saying Louis, thinking you were a Louis Yosef. I don't know how that worked out, but no, I know you're ecstatic about that. I know you got your streamers ready.
Oh, locked and loaded, man. And I have to get that patch that Griffin made sewed onto my kit. But the thing with Louisville is I think we kind of, through the ups and downs of the season, I understand the fact that FC Cincinnati in a vacuum, win, loss, and draw progression did okay. They did well against Louisville last year, but getting beat down like they did in Louisville, losing when they were a man down at 5-0, that really stings. And I think that should be a memory that resonates with all of the players who are carried over, and it resonates with FC Cincinnati fans. So I think they'll be out for blood, and I honestly couldn't ask for a better kickoff to the home season is being in the Bailey, watching us play Louisville. Hopefully it goes our way, but I know those guys will want to shut down that team when they go at it.
I mean, you saw it early on social media with Seymour and what's it, Lasso? Yeah, Ranjitsingh was talking smack. Was it Lang or somebody? But yeah, I mean, there's already a little dialogue going there with some of the players, with FC Cincinnati's players that are new guys coming in into the city, and they know it's a big deal. And to have it in week 4 of the season is really going to be again another statement. I mean, what a better way to get the year going with beating down Louisville. Now it can work the opposite way. Let's say we lose, those first 2 games, and then we lose to Louisville. Oh, God. I mean, we got to be going to church every day that week to make sure that doesn't happen. But so, I mean, it could help, it could hurt. But I mean, I'm really liking our chances this year with Louisville. I think we've improved the roster so much that it's going to be a really competitive match.
It's going to be an exciting first 2 weeks of the season. The schedule really looks quite good, and we're really anticipating the full release of the schedule, which we're hoping, fingers crossed, is very soon this week. Part of that scheduling delay, I'm sure, had a lot to do with the fact that FC Cincinnati losing a conference foe in St. Louis, who are heading out west. Doesn't mean we may not play them, but they are going to be in the Western Conference this year. I believe now this is the 4th year in a row that they have switched conferences.
And they'll do it again next year with the Central Conference. So, yeah, their fans are pretty pissed off about it. I'm pretty pissed off about it, honestly. I love having St. Louis.
Are you that upset now that you know the Indies? We got Indy, though.
Yeah, but I still like the St. Louis people. I like the St. Louligans. It's a great rivalry. I mean, Cincinnati and St. Louis, there's always that hatred there with the Cardinals and Reds, and I just kind of like the dialogue we had with those clubs. Plus, we had a great winning percentage versus those guys. I mean, was it 4 wins and 1 draw? I mean, I'd rather play them than the Richmond Kickers. So,
I think the USL did this intentionally. They saw Dakers was at St. Louis, and they felt bad that the Eastern Conference had been beaten up on him so bad that they wanted to throw him out west, give some people give him a new look against the competition.
Anyone think Tyler Pollock's not going to sign for a Western Conference team now?
Jeez. Oh my gosh, we did get this question on YouTube. This is from Andrew Torres. You haven't told us about what's going on with that Kartik rumor. You want to kind of fill folks in on what that is, Bri?
Brad, do you want to flip a coin on there, or do you want me to do it?
I mean, I guess Kartik, and I'm probably butchering his last name, Krishnair, I think that's how you say it. He's a good follow on Twitter. He has a lot of soccer knowledge, has a lot of context in the game. He kind of threw it out there the other day that the MLS announcement could possibly be delayed until March. But then now he tweeted out something today where it looks like Cincinnati, according to his sources, are still the front runner. I mean, at this point, I think we're rumored out. I think we're tired of all this. Just get the process over with.
I think we're all fairly comfortable around here with Cincinnati Soccer Talk saying that we still feel very confident in this whole process with FC Cincinnati getting into MLS. We saw, I think it's yesterday, that Miami finally kind of sealed their deal on their ownership group. They met last week with their ownership group with representatives of MLS and planned an announcement by the end of January. So it wouldn't shock me one bit, and I could be wrong here, Brad, that it's reasonable to think that MLS could just be saying, "Hey, you know what? We really need to get Miami into the fold. We know they're going to play now. They said it in the newspaper. They're going to play in 2020. So let's make sure we get them locked and loaded before we go on to get that last expansion team of this first group."
Yeah. And I don't personally believe that Columbus has any effect on our bid, but another thing that they could be looking at I know they're talking about Columbus moving to Austin. I think beginning of February, the city of Austin is coming up with they're going to be coming out with some sort of vote that'll give MLS a good yes or no if that'll be if they'll be able to move, if they'll have a place to play. So, we might have to wait and see something after that. You just never know. We've heard so many different things. We've heard Don Garber say Columbus doesn't have any effect. We've heard Jeff say it, but you just never know with all the rumors and speculation out there. I still think it's going to be soon. I mean, if they want us to play in 2019, which I think we've heard a lot about it, I think it's going to be soon.
I agree.
Soon may not be 2 days, but I don't think it's going to be in another month and a half. I'm telling you right now, the date that it's going to be. Actually, it is going to be January 31st for the announcement for FC Cincinnati to MLS. And the reason being I say January 31st, you can write it down, is that every single time something big comes up with FC Cincinnati, I find myself not there. I missed the home opener because of some wedding or something. I missed the first home opener, the inaugural game. Charlotte. I missed Palace because of my buddy's bachelor party. I missed all kinds of humongous events in FC. I missed Bikegate last year. I did make the Open Cup matches, but I'm telling you guys right now, January 31st, it's a science. Write it down.
I believe you missed the home opener because you chose to sign up to go to the Masters.
Oh yeah, that's right. I went to the Masters. But that was a real round. That wasn't a practice round.
Choices, Brad. Choices. I'm kidding. I'm totally teasing you. But I'm glad you decided to go out on a limb with another prediction. Like we said, we weren't going to do anymore last week on the podcast. So.
It's not a prediction. It's science.
Oh, okay. Well, science never fails.
Yes.
So what Brad is basically saying is stay tuned to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, where we'll have the latest updates as soon as we have them. So thank you for the question, Andrew. It was Andrew. Thank you. We appreciate it. 100 episodes. Has there been one favorite moment that you've had that you remember about this show here since we started this back in February of 2016? Is there one thing that really sticks out to you guys?
Yeah, freaking Yosef, switching his words around and making me paint up for a damn game.
Oh man, I'm so proud of that. Quietly, still, that was good, man. I completely forgot about that for a while. I'm so bad at keeping secrets. I'm like a 5-year-old in that regard, and I kept that together for months. And I'm just impressed. I think you should paint up again. In fact, that's how proud I am of that.
I mean, I'm down. If we get how about this? How about this, boys? How about this, boys? Everybody, if we get if we get an MLS invitation before the first game, and we raise money for Sports Games for Kids again, I'll paint up for the first game, weather permitting.
Oh,
Can't
yeah.
cut diamonds, man. I can't cut diamonds in cold weather. Can't do that.
That is, honestly, I think I would rather be cold than molting like I was last summer. I think the blue paint is still in the bleachers there in the Bailey from me. But so what? Okay, so I know that was Yosef's favorite memory. What about you, Bri?
Wait, that was Bryce.
Oh, I thought. Okay, I'm sorry. Yosef, what about you? Sorry.
If I have to exclude that, geez, what would I guess honestly, my my favorite memory, and it's something I hope to do more of in the future. We had just having the after reactions after I can't remember the match, but getting the real because there's a lot of emotion when we're in the Bailey and we're watching those games, and then when it's fresh to get the kind of fans' takes on it and have them have that be broadcast. That was kind of seeing kids I grew up watching this watching a lot of sports teams, and now I'm older, and so I don't have that childhood resonation of growing up with it, but it's really cool to see kids that are going to have this memory build upon itself as things go on, whether or wherever we end up in the future.
That's a good one too. I was fortunate enough to interview a few of those kids after the games. Ethan Weimer, I know we had a chance to talk with him. Matt Adamchick's son, I believe his name is Miles. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, Matt. I had a chance to interview him after the home opener, after GB goes and scores 4 goals, to get the raw emotion from that. That was a lot of fun too. That's a good one, Yosef. I like that. How about you, Brad?
I'd have to say my favorite was episode 2. We still didn't quite know what we were doing back then, but what made it cool about that was we had Payne Rankin call in live, I think, or he at least called in when we were recording because we weren't doing live shows back then. It was just podcast form. And then the other cool part was that, I don't know, like a day or two before, Yosef came over and I got to meet Jared Handra and Ryan Lamy for the first time. And we recorded a little segment here in my little office. It was just really cool how the supporters groups, the leadership, all their members, how they've just supported this show. And like I said before, they came out with cool ideas, and they call in and they're just wonderful people. And I think that being able to meet Jared and Ryan and kind of being a part of I wasn't part of the initial group at DI, but just seeing DI and the Pride get off the ground, that's just more of a sentimental thing for me. So I have to say D2 and episode 2, meeting Jared and Ryan and all the resulting friendships that have come from that.
I'm glad you brought that up too. I liken it to, we look at where the supporters groups are at now, and we look back on that episode, and even during that interview, all of the unknowns. We didn't know what this team was going to be like. We didn't know that they were going to have 15,000 season ticket holders in year 3. We didn't know anything, and to see where we were then in that episode and where we are now here at the 100th, on the brink of possibly getting MLS, it's remarkable. The journey that we've been on in those episodes. That's pretty cool to think about it that way. And even them, just at the beginning phases of starting a supporters group. It's not like we have a history of that here in Cincinnati. There was a lot of learning involved, a lot of growing pains for them as well. So good stuff, Brad. I like that one. That was a good one. If I had to give a favorite memory, because it's not necessarily, I guess, an episode of the show, but it's something that resulted because of the episode. And I talked about it a little bit earlier with the chance to go down to Nippert Stadium for practice and shoot the skills challenge, the crossbar challenge with Ben Knapp, with Harrison Delbridge, Omar Cummings, Kenny Walker, and Paul Nicholson. That's a huge favorite memory of mine. But for me personally, the memory of, I'm going to give 2. I'm going to cheat. I'm a host. What are you going to do? The first one is the first foot golf outing. That was the first time and I've been podcasting for almost 12 years at this point. That was the first time I had been to an event where there were people that I never knew, but they came up to me and acted like I was their buddy. I'm just the host of the show. I don't know a lot of you personally. I would love to meet a lot more of you, and I have met a lot of people during that time. But like that was the first time I had a chance to put a face to a Twitter handle. You know what I mean? So it was really cool to meet a lot of you guys for the first time at that point. You know, I hadn't met Brian Griffin. Griffin was at the last minute. I had a cancellation on my foot golf team, and Griffin stepped right up, and now here he is designing graphics for us. He's screening our show tonight. That wouldn't have happened without the foot golf outing. And the fact that we've raised, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, I think a big highlight for me also is that we've raised a lot of money for sports games for kids, and we've been very, very charitable, and we're very proud to help support those that need it. And that's a cool takeaway from that as well. My other favorite memory, and I've probably said it before here on the show, but the Pittsburgh bus trip and Matt Adamczyk asking me for my autograph to sign the memory book, or the picture book that you can see behind me here, the Rise Together book. Like, nobody's asking me for an autograph. I still am baffled to this day that he asked for that, and I'll never forget it. So those are my two favorite memories.
Well, if we're given two, I think everybody's second choice would have to be that moment when Subs lost his mind after the Crew victory. I mean, that will go down in FC Cincinnati lore. I can't believe they didn't put that reaction in the movie Rise Together. That would have been priceless.
Oh, yeah. Sadly, I wasn't asked.
I feel like there are like about 35 states in America where you would probably be put on a 72-hour hold if they saw you laughing like that, Nick.
Why don't we have that as like a voice button? Like whenever anybody mentions something, you can hit that. We need that, like Bill's Wolfman. You got a hysterical laughing.
Maybe
voice.
that should be the voice I play. Yeah, it's tough because I don't get like that during the show. You know, I'm more of I dish the rock. That's kind of my role here as the host. You know, I don't get animated and pumped up like I do after fresh after a game, that raw emotion.
Kyrie makes 3-pointers too, so come on, man.
I guess.
Oh, come on, nobody knows.
I don't get the
He
reference.
plays for the Celtics now, man.
God, y'all kill me, right?
I don't watch basketball. I'm a soccer fanatic. Can you explain? What are you even talking about?
Kyrie Irving,
dude. Point guard.
Come on, dude.
Cavs now is at the Celtics.
All right.
Well, that was the low point of the show.
We're gonna erase this part out.
Can we say another? Like, what was your least favorite moment of the show?
I don't have one, Bri.
I do.
Oh no. Okay.
Shauna Coley interview.
That's true.
Yes.
True.
No.
Yeah, that was like pulling teeth. No offense, Sean. We know you're listening. That was rough. That was yeah. That did not go down very well. And you know what the best part about that interview too is that was early on in our live phase where we, at first when we recorded the show, we didn't do it live. The first, I want to say 30 or 40 episodes, we recorded and then distributed it. And then we decided, you know what, let's do it live. And then that was real early on in that process. So yeah, that was, oh, that's great. Well done, Bri. That was, I forgot about it, as you can see why.
Hey, man, we got to have a little fun around here. So.
Well,
it was a good run, and we can't wait to do another 100.
Yeah, no kidding. I honestly, I cannot believe how quickly that went by. I mean, it feels like yesterday we all got together and decided, hey, let's do this. And here we are 100 episodes later, 147 total episodes later. And I couldn't have asked for a better group of guys to work with. I'm very honored to be among this great team that we've got here at Cincinnati Soccer Talk. From the top to the bottom, it's been a blast. And a big part of that is you, the listener. And thank you for again, all the shares, all the likes, all the comments. Just seeing everybody here tonight on YouTube chiming in. It's been a lot of fun. I watched the YouTube. I know the other guys, they watch the Facebook, which is a little bit more active. We did get one more question here, and I think it's appropriate that we ask this here on the 100th episode. Nick Wolfram wants to know, any word on jerseys?
Soon.
Yeah, that's kind of been the thing we've been
Seems to be
told.
the answer for everything.
Soon. Oh, you think about it. They're going to play their first game, the first week of February. So you have to think that they'll have to announce them by now. Or by then. So you're not going to be any longer than 3 weeks. I bet it's probably going to coincide. I bet it's going to be sometime late this week, beginning of next week. So they can get them all sold, and you can get your screen printed with your player name on it and have it all ready for the beginning of March Charleston game, or at middle March Charleston.
I have a hunch. Ready? It's going to have orange and blue on it.
Will it have diamonds, though? Is the real
Here we go. Diamonds. Oh, Diamond Gate. Yeah. I think it will have blue and orange, Brian. I really do.
Safe bet.
But yes, the answer there is soon, Nick. So we appreciate the comment.
Shoot for January 31st.
Oh, that's great.
Kits made from recycled streamers, according to Griffin.
That's too funny. All right, as we begin to wrap up here, we always end the show with our final thoughts. So I'll start with you, Joseph Sagai. Your final thoughts?
My final thought, beyond all of the nostalgia and memories in regard to the show, I saw a really cool tweet that Nazmi Abadawi set out today about a random act of kindness, and I'm pulling it up now. Essentially, if you're on Twitter, what you need to do is retweet and follow, I believe, and he wants you to do a random act of kindness and also tag him in a picture with the hashtag here, kindnaz, as in kindness, but kind, N-A-Z, and the winner will get a pair of signed cleats on January 21st. So I think that's a good thing to do, is just always put some good vibes out into the world, and I think it's a good way to introduce yourself to the city. So keep an eye out for that, and spread the love, I guess.
I like it, Joseph. Good stuff, and congratulations on the 100th episode. You were CST member number 2, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I snuck in number 2, but number 1 in the hearts of probably 2 or 3 of the thousands of listeners. So,
if there's going to be one CST person to get the second CST TIFO, who do we think it would be?
I already know who it is.
Because I think it would be Joseph Ashuan.
No, I already know.
Joseph with pizza. Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Free pizza. Forgot about that. I still have that tweet too. Or it might have been an Instagram post.
Brad looked at me like
I was right there.
I was a crazy person.
We just grabbed random pizza from random and just started eating it.
No, the next TIFO.
And then hot dogs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh man,
too funny. No, I think the next TIFO is Angry Brian.
Oh God, no.
Yes.
Yep.
I will pay.
God, no.
So for anybody listening who can make that happen,
I will pay for the materials.
No.
And paint for that.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
would you rather paint up Bri or have a TIFO?
I'd rather paint up versus my son having to see that.
If the TIFO would be a painted up version of Brian with the angry face, that would be even better.
Somebody get on that, please. No, I'm kidding. Your final thoughts as we get out of here, Brad?
I can't top that. Alan said something that's really resonated with me, and I think the club's been this way. The the first 2 years of existence. We've been doing this show coming up on 2 years, I think, right around February 1st. And he said the words "all in this together," and he's talking about the fans, the community, and that's what makes us unique. And I know we're going to be going through. We've been going through a lot of ups and downs with this MLS bid. We've got season 3 coming up. I'm going to be out the next couple weeks from the show, so maybe we'll hear announcement. Thanks. Maybe we'll hear announcement by then. But I just want, for the next 100 and more, I just want to remember and keep the feeling of between the fans and this club of we're all in this together. That the club keeps that open stream of communication, and the players, they continue to interact with fans and make this, a team that we're proud of in Cincinnati. And, if we can do that, I'm confident FC Cincinnati won't be too far from bringing Cincinnati its next championship.
Well said, Brad. I really like that. We are all in this together. Good stuff, Brad, and we'll miss you the next few weeks. Hopefully see you soon.
No, we won't.
I will. Maybe not your brother.
That's why they call me Angry Brian.
Final thoughts, Brian Weigel.
I'm always angry. I'll be on the USL show this week, so check that out. Beautiful Game Network. Can't wait to do an Eastern Conference preview with them. And just a special thank you to all of our wives that are part of all the hosts and everything. And they let us do all this cool stuff, fun stuff. We're away from our kids sometimes. And just thank you very much. You guys are the best. And just please stay with us.
Yes, that is a good one. I appreciate that. I'm glad you mentioned that, Bri. Thanks for all that you do as well, all three of you. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to give a big shout out and thanks. I should have done it earlier, but I'm naming each and every member of CST: Brian Weigel, Brad Weigel, Joseph Sagai, Bill Wolf, Ken Hetger. He goes by Griffin, but it's Brian Griffin. Boston Brazil, Alex Veer, Ben Knapp, Rob Pierce, and Clay. Benjamin, you guys are awesome. I cannot thank you enough for all that you do for CST. The time and the commitment you put into the show and the website is remarkable, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in. Thank you to everybody who has shared or downloaded or watched or read an article. We really do appreciate that as well. If you've got a few moments and if you got some spare change, go check that couch. Maybe you got a couple dollars laying around. Head on over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support and help support our wonderful show.
Yeah.
And if you've also got a few minutes, if you don't want to help us financially, a review on iTunes will go a long way as well. CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/iTunes. If you're an Android user, hey, we're on Stitcher. We're on Google Play. We're on Spotify. We're on TuneIn. No excuse. Go get subscribed so you don't miss a single episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. That is going to do it. 100 of these bad boys in the can, believe it or not. I can't believe it. My thanks to head coach Alan Koch. Our thanks to Mattis Brumback for wearing the episode armband this week. I'm Subs, for my guys, reminding you to watch your tackles. And we see you all. Wow. 100 episodes. I finally butchered the last line. We will see you all next week.